Today we want to talk about division, and I have two main ways of thinking about division that I want to tell you about. The first of these is to talk about sets, as in how many sets, excuse my writing, how many sets of one number is in another. Let's take, for example, I've drawn out 6 lovely sweets there, they're very tasty. I want to divide them by 2. I want to divide them into sets of 2. So your sum as you write it would look like this: 6 divided by 2. To figure out how many sets of 2, how many times 2 can divide into or fit into 6, I might draw around these and separate them out into sets of 2. So from this I can see I've got 1, 2, 3 sets of 2. 6 divided by 2 equals 3. Now I'm going to get rid of those. Imagine you wanted to do another number though. There's a quicker word. Imagine you wanted to do, just going to fill that in. Imagine you wanted to know how many sets of 6. 6 divided by 6. You want to know how many sets of 6 are in 6. That's fairly easy. You count out a set of 6 and you circle it. The answer to that will be 1. 1 set of 6. Imagine you wanted to divide 6 by 3. You have to count out your set of 3. 1, 2, 3. Circle it. Funny looking circle, I know. Count out another set of 3. 1, 2, 3. And circle it. And now you have 2 sets of 3. 6 divided by 3 is 2. That is one way to check your division, is to draw out some representation of it. It doesn't even have to be a complicated representation. You could just do dashes just as easily to show your representation and check how many sets you have in your total number. So I've drawn 6 little dashes. I can check how many sets of 3 I have in that. I can draw 9 little dashes and check how many sets of 3 I have in that. So 9 divided by 3 would be 3. 3 sets of 3. And that is one multiplication, or one method of looking at division or understanding what you're doing when you're dividing. It's not necessarily the most efficient method when we get to bigger sums, but it is useful to know what you're really looking at. I'm going to show you the other method, which is probably the method that you are going to want to use as you go on. So I'm just going to get a new page, and I'm going to show you the other method. If you know your multiplication times tables already, this is probably going to be the easiest method to get along with your division, because the times sign is thought to be the opposite of the divide. They are the opposite. So if you know 2 times 2 equals 4, you can flip that sum around, go backwards and say 4 divided by 2 equals 2. If you know 3 times 2 equals 6, you can flip this around, go to the opposite sign, go to divide, and say 6 divided by 2 equals 3. So if you know your times tables and you know you can flip around your multiplication into division, you can flip the sum around and get your answers that way for division. Also, if you have something like, let's say 3 times 4 is 12, you have one like this. You can flip it like we have been doing. We've been doing it in order. You can go 12 divide by 4 equals 3. Just writing it backwards like we have been doing there. Or you can take your 12 divided by and go to the 3 and say it's equal to 4. When you're writing your times tables, you can write 3 times 4 equals 12 or 4 times 3 equals 12. Either one will do, so you can write that backwards as you like to flip it around to your division. Let me show you how you might do division with a bigger number. So those are the little numbers. These are your times tables that you will at least try and memorize most of the times tables up until your 12 times tables. Definitely try and memorize the 2s, the 3s, the 5s, and the 10s. Those ones are really important. The 7s would be really good as well to have fairly solid. But let me show you then how you would use this in a bigger division sum. So if I got a bigger division sum, let's say something like 369, let's say, divided by 3. Maybe you can do that in your head already, but let's say I couldn't. I need a method to do this. What you have is called the bus stop method for division. First thing you do is you draw a bus stop. So one line down and one line across the top for the roof. You put your number that you are dividing, that you want to split up, into the bus stop, and you put your other number, the one that is doing the dividing, it's called the divisor, outside the bus stop. Now if you know your 3 times tables really well, you don't have to do this, but if you're not confident, I recommend it for the moment. You write down all the multiples of 3 on the side. So multiples of a number, any numbers that will divide evenly by the number you're talking about. In this case, it's the 3s. It's any number that divides by 3 and you get a whole number back. A whole number is a number that doesn't have any decimal points or fractions or anything in it. It's just a whole, normal, simple number. Nearly there. Say that will be enough for the moment. I wouldn't usually go beyond 9. Oops. Bad example. That's gotten as far as 7. Okay, so first things first. You look at the first number in your sum and you see it and you see 3. 3 divided by 3, that goes. I have one set of 3 in 3s. Or you can say 3 times 1 is 3. Therefore your answer is 1. It goes once. You look at the next number, and I will use my list of multiples on the side, and you count down. You find your 6 first, the number that you're interested in, the multiple that you're interested in, and then you count down to it. 1, 2. So 3 times 2 is 6. 6 divided by 3 is 2. Next you look at your last number. 9 divided by 3. find 9 on your list of multiples and count down to it. You've got 1, 2, 3. So I can say 3 times 3 is 9, therefore 9 divided by 3 is 3. And I write my answer above the number. And there we go. So that's how you do division with a big number that maybe you can't do in your head. Now I'm going to show you another example so you can see how this works in a couple of different situations. Like let's say you have, instead of 2, 6, 9, you have 2, 7, 9 divided by 3. I'm going to leave most of this up here. Just want to take out some of the doodling. Okay, good to go. So I'm looking at this and 2 by itself is not on my list of multiples. I can't do that. It won't work out. What I do, 2 is too small, I'm going to put a 0 over 2. But now I've got 27. Now I don't know if 27 is a multiple of 3 because I've not written it down. Maybe you know it off the top of your head already, but I'm going to continue down and see if 27 shows up. And luckily it does. So 27 is a multiple of 3. I need to find out how many times 3 is multiplied by to get to 27. So we count from the top. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So 3 times 9 is 27. 27 divided by 3 is 9. Our answer is 9. Now again, we've got 9 divided by 3. You find your 9, go down, 1, 2, 3. 3 times 3 is 9, therefore 9 divided by 3 is 3. Okay, so our answer is 93. Try another one with a different divisor. Let's say we had, draw a bus stop first, 2, 4, 8 divided by 4. Now let's assume I don't know my multiple times tables well enough. I'm not confident. I'm going to scribble them down on the side of the page so I can use them. 12, 16, 20, 24. It's a funny looking 2. There we go. 28, 32, 36. So I've gone up to 9 times 4. That's usually plenty. Now, looking at it again, I can't divide 2 by 4. 2 is too small. It's not on my list. So I've got to put a 0 up above it. Now 24, that's big enough. I can look on my list for that and I can find it here. So I do my counting. How many times do I multiply by 4 to get to 24? I go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 times. 4 times 6 is 24. 24 divided by 4 equals 6. Last up we have our 8. Count out what multiple of 4 is it? How many times are you multiplying 4 to get to 8? You are going 1, 2. 4 times 2 equals 8. 8 divided by 4 equals 2. And you have your answer, 62. Okay, so that is how you do your division basically. So if you have a single divisor, remember the number that's doing the dividing is your divisor. You have a single divisor and maybe a bigger number, and you need to know how to divide that up. This is the method you use. In the next video, I'm going to talk to you about what to do if it doesn't go out evenly. If you have something left over at the end, like let's say this number is a 9 instead of an 8, what do you do in that case? So that's the next video. I hope this one's been helpful.